I do come, I'm gonna have an arsenal of entertainment. Okay, you ain't gonna do nothing, so I can get close to what I want. However you want it, that's how I'm gonna give it to you. I'm giving it to you just like you want it. I don't know who you beat, I don't know who you lost to. Easy work. Easy work.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with another Easy Work Wednesday. Channel members only, Patreons only. Ricky Williams in the building, Sura. You know, I want to just jump right into it. Canelo Alvarez, he dazzled last Saturday on DAZN versus Callum Smith. It was a 12-round, in my opinion, shutout. What did you guys take away from that fight? Was there anything surprising? Did he look just what you thought? Did he look better than you thought? Did he look worse? Let me know something. Let's start with Ricky.
Yo, straight up. Hey, congratulations to Canelo for his win on the weekend. He did what he's supposed to do. He looked spicy in there. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, if we being honest, come on, man. He didn't beat up on the whole Smith family. He about to fight his mom's next. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, the whole Smith family tree?
Yeah, man. I don't know if they took his lunch money when he went to England for a DAZN meeting or something, but he after their whole fam. It's ridiculous. But he did what he's supposed to do, but come on, man. We all knew Canelo was gonna do that. He the British assassin. You know what I'm saying? he taking down every British fighter that's worth talking about, man. Come on, man. I didn't expect nothing less of Canelo. He picking that fight for a reason. You already know what it is.
Objectively speaking, I will give him credit. Canelo has showed me at least stamina issues in certain fights. So I picked him to win for sure. I even thought he could have got the stoppage, but I didn't know if there would be any rounds where he lost, 1 or 2 rounds or something like that. So I don't know that I necessarily pictured a 12-round shutout because sometimes he has stamina issues, which weren't apparent here in 12 rounds, and he didn't take no rounds off. Like, he kind of kept the same pace. Were you surprised that Canelo had, I guess, no stamina issues against a bigger person, threw a lot of punches, and, he was just in there winning every single second of the round, basically?
Not really, to be honest with you. If we're gonna keep it gangster, he hit that dude with a body shot in the first round, and he didn't throw after that. To be honest with you, he was on retreat pretty much for all of the fight. So, as far as Canelo getting tired, what was he get tired? They get tired for? He wasn't no offense coming back at him. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't take nothing from Canelo. He looked good because, as I say, any fighter can look bad any given night. So nobody know the circumstances behind the fight. So congrats to him. But I don't put this win up there nowhere. He looks spicy, but he always looks spicy to me. I never took away the fact that Canelo is a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He's just picking punk opposition. That's just what it is.
Sir, break it down.
Yeah, he over there steamrolling bums. He ain't a bum. He's steamrolling cats he's supposed to steamroll. And he over there deboing the whole Smith family.
Man.
Deboed all. Deboed.
Rest in peace, Tiny Lister.
Yeah, rest in peace to brother Tiny. Yeah, man, but it was as expected, and he didn't, like he said, like Ricky said, he wasn't nothing coming back at him, so they was fighting at Canelo's pace. Canelo was the pilot, and he was just they was flying at Canelo's altitude, so the altitude he wanted. So
I like how you said that. He said Canelo was the pilot, and they were flying at Canelo's altitude. That's bars. That's a bar.
Oh,
I like how you said that. That's good. Man, we be having quotables on here. Easy Work Wednesday. Y'all better get used to this.
Oh,
no, I agree with you. He was able to control the pace. So when you dictate the pace, it's usually a bit easier than somebody like Sean Porter. I thought made Errol Spence fight at a frenetic pace. I don't know if Sean Porter didn't come out guns blazing versus Errol Spence. I don't think Errol Spence would have set everything up like that. But Sean Porter was right in his chest, and 2 rams at each other. So it just turned out to be an electrifying fight. But this is just one-way traffic, like you guys are saying.
Yeah,
now, one thing. Oh.
What at that everybody get down pace. Everybody get down.
Was that Whack 100? Y'all seen that video?
Nah,
y'all seen that video with White? Oh, okay. Whack 100, the game's manager and Blueface Hunted, he was fighting some alleged skinheads or something, and he was like, "Yeah, get out," and he clocked one of them and dropped him. I thought you was talking about that because he kept saying, "Get out, yeah, get out," and he was fighting in the parking lot with these 2 dudes.
I thought like somebody busting. everybody get down. He's just busting. He's just throwing whatever, man. So you better get down.
Hey,
Don't ask no
man,
questions.
I've been in Porter's gym. He got this at his old gym, the Porter Performance Center or whatnot. They got this like Michael Jackson hyperbaric chamber or something, and he was like, it's hard to breathe in there. You know what I mean? And he was just with the body shield, and you could tell because he had just sparred. I think it was Shane Mosley. But the man has an unlimited battery. It's crazy.
Okay.
So yeah, he does make you force. He forced the issue. Callum Smith didn't really force nothing, and then he said his bicep was finna fall off. It was just
that Buff Bagwell, son.
yeah, that arm. I never seen somebody arm be the excuse. Like not like, oh, I threw my arm out. Like, bro, he said his arm got punched too hard.
He was
got
in
a
there with
Charlie
the Gumby arm, yo, like chilling with the Gumby arm, son.
UK always find an excuse, man. They always find some type of excuse. No matter, they always find an excuse. So
yep. Excuse or reason is what happens. So
the UK, they always seem to find an excuse.
Don't matter.
Yeah, they can't find that excuse for that Tyson Fury glove though.
Nope.
That's the only time where they's like, nope.
With them gloves, that Mauricio.
All right. Before the fight, Canelo Alvarez's team said at 168 super middleweight, where Canelo is now campaigning for his team. I'm not going to quote it dead on, but pretty close to verbatim. They said, we taking on Callum Smith, who is the number one person. I thought that was cap. I made a video about it. Do you guys, all things considered, think that Callum Smith was the best guy outside of Canelo over David Benavidez and the likes of Caleb Plant?
Hell no.
Why? Sir?
If you look at Caleb Plant, you look at Benavidez, and you got Charlo that can move up to 168. Them two alone will piss on Callum, in my opinion. You know, I don't mean to sound vulgar, but Callum is he good for what he do over there,
man,
fighting those dudes over there. But when it comes to Benavidez, he can throw 8-punch combinations, and Caleb they
8
can
punches.
He can
Caleb combinations, bro.
Yeah, Caleb can out slick you, and then catch you. Come on, man. This dude was like a Frankenstein monster, man. You know, all he was missing was the bullshit. You know.
Man said Frankenstein.
Oh.
All right, Ricky, you up?
I mean, I got a simple.
Was he the best?
No. The simple example is why was you using Caleb Plant to get your buzz going before you chose Callum Smith?
Facts.
That was the case, bro. Right? You shout me, oh, we going at Caleb, and then you announce Callum or the Yildirim dude there was about to go back to him or some other. Come on, man. He know what he doing.
Yeah, that's like the restaurant saying we bringing out free filet mignon and they bring out a cup of noodle.
Right. They pull out that McRib bone.
You said filet. Where the 12-ounce steak, man? Come on.
They give you a McRib. Stop, man. Y'all already know what Canelo getting that money. He getting that money. You know what I'm saying? But fighting nobody's, bro. Come on, man.
So, unanimously, we agree?
Yes.
Callum Smith, you would rank him behind Caleb and David Benavidez?
Yeah.
I'll rank him behind them, man. I'll rank him behind Charlo. If Charlo moved up, it'd have been a better fight. So, I rank him. Yeah.
I think it's hard. It's hard for me to believe that any of those dudes y'all just said, from even Chris Eubank, I don't think he's going to lose 12 rounds out of 12.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
And people going to get mad, say y'all hating and stuff. I don't see Charlo losing 12 rounds out of 12 non-competitively, or Caleb or David Benavidez.
I like Canelo, too. I like his skill set.
I do, too. I don't like his choices.
I don't like his choices. I like his skills, but I don't like his choices.
All right, this is David Benavidez. He did a recent interview.
What did you think of the Canelo and Smith fight?
I felt like Canelo, hats off to Canelo. No disrespect to him at all. He's a great champion. He went in there and he took care of business. He looked amazing. It's just that the only thing that I didn't really like is Eddie Hearn and all them. They let Callum Smith take the biggest fight of his life with the 4-week camp.
3 days.
And it's not even 4 weeks, to be honest with you. It was 3 weeks, them training at the gym, and then the last week, they're in Texas. He's losing weight. You know what I mean? So it's not a really it's not 3 weeks is not enough it's not enough time to fight Canelo. You know, they can say, oh, Canelo had 4 weeks to train this. No,
Ego, you're on mute. Ego, you're muted. You're muted.
No, I muted on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Can y'all hear that?
I stopped hearing it after a while.
You couldn't hear that, Ricky? You're on mute, Ricky. I had to mute you guys while it's playing so the viewer can hear it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it had went on mute.
Yeah, so because you guys were saying stuff and it's already not the loudest decibels. Because y'all couldn't hear none of it?
I heard some of it at the beginning, but when you were, for a minute, when I told you you were on mute, I couldn't hear nothing.
Oh, yeah, because I had to move and stuff. But so basically, David Benavidez, in a recent interview, he says, Canelo did his thing. Hats off to him. He looked good. But David Benavidez, he says the thing he didn't like is that Eddie Hearn put their champion in there with Canelo on a 4-week camp. So he said that's just ill time to prepare. He said you basically sold your fighter out on a short notice for the biggest fight of his career. What do y'all think about that? The whole thing about, Callum Smith. He said because Canelo, he knows what he's going to do. He knows DAZN's offering him a bag if he's going to take it. He's at A side, right? So he's basically saying that Canelo, he knows so he can train and start getting ready and mentally start getting in tall sparring partners and stuff like that. And he got a lot of money. So he got money, so he has resources. He can bring people in. Versus Callum Smith, this is the biggest opportunity and paycheck that you've probably ever received. And at the end of the day, you don't know if you're getting the fight, so you might not have the resources to just bring in a bunch of sparring partners if you can't actually get the fight in the end and pay all these people, stuff like that. So what do you think about the whole notion that it was a short camp for Callum?
Yeah, that's dirty, man. Who knows? That might have been part of the settlement. You sacrifice your mans and let me get that belt. And I won't go after you all as bad. But yeah, man, to give that man just not even, like you said, like 3 weeks of camp to get ready for Canelo. Come on, man. You need about at least 8 weeks for Canelo, man, just to deal with his skill set, especially a European fighter like Callum that's straight up and down, no special effects. You just sacrificed him to the Kraken, really.
Release the Krakens. The other thing is with that whole scenario is this is the second fight in a row where these were kind of the terms. Kovalev, he had just had a war with Anthony Yard, and he almost got stopped in that fight. And then he turned around and stopped Anthony Yard. So to go from a tough out with Anthony Yard where you win, but you're losing some of the early rounds, got hurt and almost got stopped. Because Buddy McGirt said, hey, Kovalev, another round like that, I'm going to stop it. I remember watching it. He said, I'm going to stop this fight. So that tells you that Kovalev was in bad shape. If your own trainer is saying, yo, we got to stop this if you give me another round like that. So we know Kovalev was hurt. It was close to being stopped. Then he turned it off. Yard stamina depleted. He got hurt by a jab, and the rest was history. So to go from that tough fight and then go into a Canelo fight where he's fresh and stuff like that, I think that's what's bothering most people is the strategies that Canelo keeps employing in his fights. Undoubtedly skilled. He might be able to beat these guys on the up and up. So let's see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Ricky.
just that to me. That's his formula. He got going forward. He tried to pull that with Caleb, and people keep saying Caleb duck, but that Caleb was like, I just got out of a fight. I need more than 30 days to get ready for the biggest fight of my life. That's just a fighter being smart. You know what I'm saying? So he did the same thing to the Smith boy that he did to Kovalev. Man, come on, man. This is Canelo Alvarez. Like I said, it's not like we don't doubt his skill set. You got to give a partner, a dance partner, appropriate time to prepare. You know what I'm saying? That's just as bad as taking out a rehydration clause or making sure, saying you can't be 1 pound over. It's the same thing. It's something you setting for a disadvantage that works for you, for that other fighter. And this is what Canelo does, man. I mean, I don't see how you can try to be the A side and you trying to replace Money Mayweather, easy work, right? when he wanted his fighters, whenever he fought somebody, he wanted them at their best. Hey, this is the weight is gonna be even. You're gonna have plenty of time to train. I'm gonna make sure this the biggest payday of your life, so your family is set. You not doing the same thing, Canelo. I don't know what to tell you, boy. Like I said, you skilled, but you messing up.
I gotta bring up the double standard too that I've seen with that same scenario with African American fighters. Floyd Mayweather, he's number one pound for pound, bar none when he was active and fighting. And for Floyd, the bar was always up here, like, hey, why you fighting Berto? Why'd you mention Kareem Mayfield? Shout out to my dude Mayfield. But he said when he said he was going to fight for his last Showtime fight, either Andre Berto or Kareem Mayfield, people were angry and outraged. But Canelo, he could fight Rocky Fielding in the middle of his career in his young 30s, and we don't even know who Rocky Fielding is. Callum Smith knocked out Rocky Fielding at that point in one round. And he could fight these, like, basically British fighters or European fighters or whoever, Amir Khan, bring him up, and we don't see that. And then the last thing I'll say is regarding Money Mayweather and the pound-for-pound status and standard, when have you ever seen Floyd give somebody 4 or 5 week quick turnaround camp? Like, hey, Pacquiao, I'm going to fight you, but you got 4 or 5 weeks to prepare. You know, you never really seen that. So I don't think anyone's doubting that Canelo is skilled and a beast. He's a true consummate professional. He's taken his career seriously. Just the OD gamesmanship, I think that's what kind of rubs people the wrong way, if anything. That's why Caleb Plant said, you know, we're not falling for it. We're not doing, like Ricky Williams just said, we're not going to do no quick turnaround camp. I want to be at the best. Floyd Mayweather, and the last thing I'll say is this, Floyd Mayweather typically fought people coming off some of their best wins. Cotto had just avenged the guy who a lot of people believe cheated him in the first fight, Margarito. Mosley had just decimated Margarito's chin and stopped him, right? Ricky Hatton was undefeated with Costa Zoo performance. Canelo had just beaten Austin Trout and was like 10 years younger than Mayweather. But Canelo is fighting Callum Smith off of his career worst performance, John Ryder, where he got booed in his whole hometown because people thought John Ryder beat him, right? Mm-hmm. Kovalev, he won the fight with Yard, but, you know, it was looking Rocky Balboa in there for him. It was looking a little Sly Stallone-ish. So I think that's what I want to see. I want to see Canelo, his true skills tested against a guy who we all feel looks good. Pause. But, like, you know, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's looked good in his last several fights. Mm-hmm. David Benavidez is destroying guys. Ari's just joining us. What's up, man?
Ari.
Hey, what's happening, Eagle? How's it going?
Yo, we just talking. I didn't get your thoughts. Canelo over the weekend. What are your first impressions of it?
Listen, I think Canelo, he looked like a beast, and he just completely dominated. It was exactly what I personally thought was going to happen in the fight. I thought he was going to get a TKO. My prediction was a TKO before the 10th. And the reason why I said that is because Callum Smith, you know, before going into the fight, I thought that he was too slow for Canelo. And even though he had the reach and he had the height and all that bullshit, anytime he threw punches, and let's say in previous fights, bringing back his punches was too slow. And I thought Canelo was eventually, going to get into his body, hurt him, and stop him by the 10th. But that's not what happened. But it was going that way. I mean, he completely dominated from round one, walked him down, and just bullied him. And he was, like I said, he was too slow. And he just didn't have the skills. He didn't have the foot movement to be able to get away from Canelo, or to, he didn't use his reach to keep Canelo at bay. And he didn't have the firepower to keep Canelo from coming forward. So it was pretty much what we thought. But, but I still think Canelo, I think Canelo solidified at least being the number one pound for pound. That I give him credit for. Because I don't think there's, at this moment, in my opinion, I think Errol Spence is number 2 pound for pound. I don't care what Ring Magazine says or whoever says, I think Errol Spence is number 2. But, I think at least him fighting Callum Smith kind of solidified him being number 1 pound for pound for now. with his performance this past weekend.
Who do you guys, Ari just gave his opinion, who do you guys have number one pound for pound in boxing right now?
You go, Ricky.
People gonna hate me for this. I understand.
Chocolatito, who you got?
Nah, I got Errol number one pound for pound. I got Canelo number 2, and then Crawford number 3. Everybody else.
Nah, I don't think they'll hate you for that. I mean, let's say
Everybody else.
racist. I don't know if they're gonna hate you. That's not disrespectful to me. But
my
what do you have?
My reason
Oh,
why,
okay.
I'm sorry. My reason why is because Canelo, I can't call you pound for pound when you ducking your mandies. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Who?
Canelo.
Ducking what mandatory?
He ducked his
Charlo?
Mando, yeah. I ain't gonna never let that go, bro. And especially when you still got Charlo saying, hey, I want this smoke, and A, y'all never sent me a contract, and B, Oscar was lying. You can't be pound for pound ducking your Mando, bro. And getting popped and getting caught pop. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it.
Hey Ricky, you
That's
remember what I
facts.
just said about they not gonna hate you?
Mm-hmm.
I take that back. They gonna hate you. After you kept going, they gonna hate you.
What it
Stura,
is.
who do you have number one?
I agree with Ricky, man. Earl number 1. I'll get Canelo. I'm gonna have to give him a 3. I give Crawford 2 because, like I said, Canelo popped dirty before. I don't know if it's the meat or whatever. Like, cause I don't live in Mexico, so I don't know how dangerous. I don't know how the food is there. So I had to take him at his word that it was a mistake. But yeah, I have to give him number 3 just on that alone. I make Crawford number 2.
Okay.
You know, even though really most of his work is when he was at 140. But on the skill wise, I have to give it to him. I give him number 2. Errol just came from out of a damn car accident and took on Danny Garcia and whitewashed Danny Garcia. Hey man, he got to be number 1. If you don't step up and make him not number 1, he chief, as far as I'm concerned. You know?
No, that's all fair. It's the pound for pound list is super subjective because I don't even know what people factor in. People factor in all types of different stuff. Me, I'm gonna put Canelo. I said this on my channel. I'm gonna put Canelo in the number 1 spot, really based on totality and resume. Errol Spence he's kicking down the door for sure, kicking down the door. The reason why I had to remove Crawford from the number 1 to bump up Canelo is because even though we know the gamesmanship from Canelo in terms of strategically quick turnarounds and maybe a rehydration clause, even with that, over the last several years, he still has taken on Golovkin, not once, but twice. Callum Smith, who a lot of people thought he would beat, but he just destroyed and dominated 12 rounds, who had 7-inch reach advantage. So he had some alleged like intangibles to give Canelo problems. And just the totality of his career, Austin Trout, Cotto, you know, Lotta was close. You know what I'm saying? Like Floyd, he stepped foot in there with Floyd, didn't get stopped. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, I pick body of work Canelo. His resume is way thicker than Crawford's. You know, you could say Crawford was undisputed, but Indongos don't match up well with a Miguel Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Cotto is a Hall of Famer and a legend. Actually, they didn't put him in the Hall of Fame, huh?
Not yet.
But he's still, you know what I mean.
He going to Hall of Fame.
That's a first ballot.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of time.
No, didn't he? Ari, was he supposed to be on this year's Hall of Fame? They didn't induct him.
He didn't get voted in. He was on the list.
Tony, right?
He was in like a first round ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, him and James Tony
but he'll get in.
snuffed.
He'll get in probably next year. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll definitely be in there. So,
I feel like I give in terms of, I know that Canelo has that, you know, the failed pet test, and I know that a lot of people will not rank him as you know, the number 1 pound for pound for that reason. I feel that I personally give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, and the reason why I do that is because, for example, if we look at fighters that have failed, you know, PED tests, and I'll give one example, and I could give more, but I'll give one example to be quick, right? Let's say Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders, his last great performance was versus David Lemieux, and he looked fucking on point. He was moving quick, he was boxing, he was just beating them to everything. After that, he popped dirty. He has never looked the same. He's never you know, he was supposed to fight Andrade, failed the pet test. He ducked, he moved up weight, whatever. He hasn't looked the same. There's been other fighters that have, let's say, failed a PED test, and they haven't looked the same after they get caught. I feel like Canelo, even though he failed that test, you know, he signed up for year-round VADA. He's,
I don't think he's doing that right now, though.
but I feel no, but they did 4 weeks.
He did immediately after. Immediately after he did, but I don't think he's doing that now.
Okay, okay, but yes, he did. So immediately after he did
But the Golovkin, I'll
VADA,
give him the Golovkin too. You know, he was in that program and he beat Golovkin, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I feel like, and another thing is that I feel like I've read into this and I've looked into it. From what I've read, and this is just my opinion, I think in Mexico they did have a issue with the meat. I've read, and like I said, these are the things that I just looked into. There was like a junior Olympic soccer team that there was like the junior Olympics that were held in Mexico, and about like 20 soccer players from different countries, from different teams, came up. You know, the clenbuterol came up in their system. There was also like a NFL Mexico game, NFL game that was held in Mexico City, and a few of the NFL players came up with clenbuterol. So with those little things, I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I overlook that failed pet test, but in his resume, and he hasn't looked like shit after that. So I feel like if he was on peds this whole time and then he gets popped and then looks like shit, I'm like, yeah, that motherfucker was definitely doing peds. But since he's kind of consistently looked good or better, then I'm like, okay, maybe he wasn't cheating. So that's kind of,
I don't know about that. Like I don't know. I don't know if all I know is Chepo or Eddie, one of them is a butcher, and they ate some meat that was spoiled or whatever. I don't know if he did it or didn't, so I'm not gonna spend too much time in like actually like saying he did or didn't, because I don't know the truth. Only God knows the truth. For me, I can't overlook it because it happened. It's plausible either way. It's plausible that he was trying to get that advantage, and it's also plausible that, you know, I guess the meat, because there are areas like China and Mexico where it has happened, but nobody else on his team or nothing. We haven't heard of any adverse effect. And then the other thing that makes it suspicious is, why did the WBC change the clenbuterol ruling and allow for more after? You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like Canelo's always given like graded on a curve. Like this Callum Smith fight wasn't supposed to be for the WBC belt, but to make it a bigger event, the WBC said, here. When Callum Smith was not even looked at for the next opponent and Canelo was going to fight Avni Yildirim, the WBC said, we voted 35-1, Canelo's fighting Yildirim next, because that's what Canelo wanted to do. Then he sues DAZN, Golden Boy, Oscar, and then they switch it, and then now he's fighting Callum Smith, and then the winner's got to fight another, you know, Avni Yildirim. So I feel like Canelo is constantly babied, and I don't know what he did, bro, but he failed the test. That's fact. February 17th.
We know the WBC gives him special treatment, and that's that I will not dispute. And we know that the reason why the WBC allowed more clenbuterol in their system is because the fighters that were failing the clenbuterol test were Mexican. Canelo, Luis Neri. There were a few other Mexican fighters that failed those tests. So we know that the WBC.
Julio Cesar Martinez, Ray Julio Cesar Martinez,
which they're all in the same team. If
Eric
you think
Morales.
about it, Martinez says it. Julio Cesar Martinez, Neri's, Canelo, they're on the same team now. I mean, they weren't at the time, but they're all Mexican fighters. So I feel that
Martinez might have been, to be honest.
Yeah, the WBC gives Canelo. Yeah, the WBC gives Canelo preferential treatment, and that's very easy to see.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying is it just makes it look even more suspicious when you got people like helping you with the murder weapon. You know, that's what it looks like from the outside looking in. You know, it looks like people are trying to help you dispose of the murder weapon. Like if you look at my gun and the serial numbers are all scraped off, that usually indicates something. Why is the serial number scraped off? That's not typical treatment for a Glock owner or a gun owner. You know what I'm saying? But if you did some dirt with this, then, you know, you're going to scratch off the serial numbers or throw it in the rivers, you know what I'm saying? Weird stuff like that. So I don't know what Canelo did. Ricky, you on mute, Ricky. Ricky, you on mute. Unmute.
Canelo out here like
Ricky was
Nicky
trying to-
Barnes.
Bodies on it.
Get out of here, Nicky Barnes.
Like Nicky Barnes.
That's
He's
funny.
stepping on WC, let him step on it. They stepping on Blue Magic. The pureness of boxing. He
Get
Nicky
outta
Barnes, he
here.
can step on it and fuck it up.
But that,
Yeah.
that's the point I was making, Ego, is that like, who knows, he could still be on that clean as long as he come in under the levels allowed. You know what I'm saying? You don't change the whole standard of testing for one guy, but they did it. So what is that telling you? He might be on that clean. Like maybe that's his preferred Roy. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But now he can come in under level. And
You know, you can get clenbuterol like at the Walgreens equivalent in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was on the window, it'll say "Get your clean," like on the wall. Like you know how
stuff down there in Mexico.
Nah,
and
bro.
Canada. For real.
My man lives in Mexico, and he sent me a picture. He's like, "Look at this." Right after that happened, they advertised this stuff like in the Walgreens. It'd be like, you know, get your holiday, you know, eggnog and get your clean, like right there.
They don't have the same restrictions we have on drugs up here, because you know the government is our middleman, so they got to get their cut. But down there, you can go to Mexico, get your tramadol, get all that stuff for a little bit of nothing.
Man, we need to take a guy's trip to Mexico, get all the.
I gotta lose 20 pounds, keep some muscles, order that clan.
Easy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not gonna point the finger. He did it. He failed the test that we know, and whatever people want to believe, there's not really a way to prove or disprove either notion. So I just want to move on from it. Canelo did look good versus Callum Smith. Ari, David Benavidez said Callum Smith had a 4-week camp. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know if it's true or? I mean, I know the fight was announced 4 weeks before.
I mean, from my understanding, Callum Smith was in the gym before he got the contract or the whatever before he agreed to the fight, but he did take the fight. He absolutely had 4 weeks to prepare for Canelo specifically. So, but you know what? He signed up for it, and I'm guessing that you could say the same for Canelo. He had 4 weeks to prepare for Callum Smith.
No, I don't agree with that though. Because if you Canelo, you in the driver's seat. So you know what you're gonna do before you make the move because you a beast and you a boss. Do you see what I'm saying? Like for Canelo, if DAZN, okay, for example, DAZN they said we're gonna give you $25 million for the Callum Smith fight. He knows that, and he knows that's a deal that is gonna take over the Caleb Plant most likely, for example. Mm-hmm. So he's already training. He's a multi-millionaire. He got his own gym, so he can start getting ready. Callum Smith specific in the gym right then and there because he knows his next move. Callum Smith, is he going to really pull out all the stops and start flying in sparring partners from Russia and all that to give power punchers and different looks, not knowing if he really got, you know, the amount of money he's probably made, not knowing if he's going to get the actual fight? I don't know. I don't know that it's the luxury of, I guess, being the A side and being in the know. You know, you get, like, for example, hold on, let me just get this one last thing out.
No, go ahead.
For example, Donald Trump had people that had advised him that this Rona was in America and it was disastrous, etc. So the everyday citizen didn't know anything about the Rona, but him being connected to doctors and different people, Donald Trump's administration had heard about it in advance. So they could start buying toilet papers and stuff because you had to jump on it. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of the same thing for Canelo. He knows he's going to go, who he's going to pick, Caleb Plant or Callum Smith. These other dudes don't, so they don't have job-specific training for Canelo. Staying in the gym is one thing, but staying in the gym preparing for this purposeful guy, like, what if I'm training and I don't know if I'm fighting Roy Jones or Mike Tyson? Those are two different people. One's a career heavyweight with a different size and attributes. So I think Canelo is giving himself the advantage, giving people these quick turnarounds. And it happened with Kovalev. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. And yes, I completely agree with you because Callum Smith did have a short camp. There's no disputing about that. what I'm saying is that Callum Smith. What I'm saying is that Callum Smith signed a contract and he signed up for the fight. Now, if you think about it, when Andy Ruiz got the chance to fight AJ, he signed up and he went in there and did what he had to do and beat AJ. So, I feel like I understand that it was a quick, that it was a short camp for Callum Smith, but he did sign the contract. He did sign up for it. And he was a bigger man. He was taller, whatever. I know Canelo was overall better fighter. He was going to win, but he did sign the contract. That's the
only rebuttal I would say to that is Andy Ruiz stylistically would always give Joshua problems. Like that, for me, fast hands, short, American style, Mexican heart, you know what I'm saying? He was always going to give Joshua problems. A guy like Callum Smith, we knew struggled with the short, limited John Ryder with 4 losses before the Callum Smith fight. So to me, this was an easy fight prediction because if your very last fight, you struggling with John Ryder, who's about Canelo's height, and you were never on his skill level, you probably need as much time as you can get. So I feel like the Andy Ruiz, that's not a comparable scenario because I think Andy Ruiz has more experience than Joshua at a world level, like amateur, fighting Joseph Parker and losing in New Zealand. I thought he won that fight. And stylistically, I thought he had faster hands, so he had some different things. I didn't think Callum Smith was better than Canelo in really any department aside from physical attributes like tall, longer arms or something. He's not more experienced than Canelo. He doesn't have a better chin than Canelo that I've seen. He doesn't have better performances, better big fight experience. He's not the A side, so it's going to be hard to win on cards. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't really have any advantages other than physical stature. That's how I see it. Anybody want to jump in?
That's facts because, and also Ruiz got special effects. Caleb Smith ain't got no special effects. Ruiz can box. He got speed. So, and he got the American style. He got special effects.
And he got, Andy Ruiz, y'all sleeping on this man's chin.
He got special effects.
Chin, bro.
Yeah.
Andy Ruiz got a chin. We didn't really know. And I've seen Andy Ruiz fight. Joseph Parker got some power. Andy Ruiz got a chin. We didn't really know none of these questions about Callum Smith. Like, you know what I'm saying? At a world level. We know Andy Ruiz fought for a title before. So even though he had 5 weeks, he still fought for a title. Callum Smith fought for a title, but it was against George Groves after Carl Froch beat him and Badu Jack. Yep. So, I think it's a little bit different to me. 4 weeks when you like, just bottom line here's my thing in closing with that argument. Callum Smith was never better than Canelo. Thanks. So you damn sure not going to beat him off no 4-week camp, period. Because you weren't, even if you had a full camp, you still probably would have lost.
Yep.
But you have to at least give yourself the best fighting chance to even try to beat him. My thing is this, fighters can't be like, fighters are dumb too. So I agree with you, Ari, in the sense of, oh, well, like he got tore up. You signed up for that. So if you're going to let Canelo play you and give you 4 weeks to train, then that's your fault. You starving for cash or you want the money that bad, then, now you don't got no belt. Now you go home and that long plane ride home. Fighters got to get smart. They got to get smart and not play other people's game. I know the money sounds good, but how much money would you get if you beat Canelo in your future fights? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you just gonna sell out for the money and not give yourself the best chance to win, then you kind of deserve to lose, to be honest.
Not only that, this seems to be Canelo's pattern.
We got Daniel Mason in the building.
Was power with the population. I smell money. Let's make it. No, I'm saying this seems to be Canelo's pattern. It seems to be always a disadvantage. Look at the Amir Khan fight, the Kovalov fight. He seems to be in a pattern of, you know what? I'm gonna try to get every advantage I can to go in there and maximum name, minimum effort. And meanwhile, you got Caleb Plant, you got Jose Benavidez, you got all these cats waiting in the rafters, and he don't want that smoke. I think you know what? I'm entertaining Errol Spence. Errol Spence got to come up from 147. He told I'm not going. What did Renee say? We're not going down to 160. So if you want this fight, you got to come up to 168. Like, it seems to be Canelo's pattern. He already got his money, and he's just trying to not risk his legacy.
Ricky, what do you think?
There's not too many people that have turned down a $2 million ass whooping. How much did he get paid for that fight?
Who, Callum?
Yeah.
I heard 5.5.
Hey, man, that's a $5 million ass whooping. Who won't take that?
Yeah, but like my thing is,
going
you
to
gotta
be out now. How long is he going to be out with that muscle?
Yeah, his arm. He got Hellboy arms. Man, he looked horrible. Like, listen, I'm just telling y'all, I'm being 100% real. I don't ever. The man got Hellboy arms. His arm looking like Buff Bagwell. I don't ever care if I even watch a Callum Smith fight. I can accept if you lose, but you got tore out the frame, meat off the bone, your arm, and all that. Like, I don't need to watch him again. So when fighters, they got to be smart and put themselves in the best position to possibly really and truly win. If you give yourself, like Ari said, it's your bad because you accepted it. You sold out for the money. There's a lot of things that I've had. I'm not going to get into all the details, but there's things that I could have done and had people help, support, and help me get further along in my career, and I chose not to, because for this very reason, when I do it anyway, I could reap all the benefits, and I don't have someone holding something over my head. You see what I'm saying? So in the same vein, these fighters got to get smarter, and yeah, you could get $5 million up front for the ass whooping, like Surah just said, but imagine if you give yourself a best chance to win and then you beat him. Like Andy Ruiz is in history as the first Mexican heavyweight ever, and he got 2 bags off of them Joshua fights.
Yep.
So it worked out for him. But Callum Smith, you just he's foolish. Eddie Hearn's foolish for even putting him in there with the 4-week training camp anyway. So I'm not saying it like I feel sorry for it. He chose to do it. He went out like that. But these fighters got to smarten up and not play the game. Of course, everyone wants the Canelo opportunity, because when you have a 4-week camp, you're probably doing a fat camp. The man is like 6'4". So what kind of good sparring can you get when you might be 190 at that height? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You just got to lose weight. You got to lose weight and just be ready to make that scale. And that's what it looked like. Because my thing with this, Canelo's a beast, but his last 2 fighters have looked nothing like they've looked in their past fights. So you have to really ask yourself, how much is the testament to his skill set plus the fact of these strategies? Yep. Kovalev looked horrible, bro.
Great match.
When he was fighting, Ricky, did he look good?
No.
He looked like he wasn't committal, like non-committal, throwing his weak pity pat jab. Does that anybody, Stevie Wonder could see, does that look like the Kovalev that fought Andre Ward in the first fight? Honestly.
Negative.
If we're being real.
That's a negative.
No.
So something, you know what I'm saying? Like something is looking a bit off for that. And I'm not taking away from Canelo's skill set. But if you please leave me a comment if you really think Kovalev looked as good as he did in the Andre Ward, Bernard Hopkins fights in the Canelo fight. Come on, bro.
See, and what bothers me about the whole Canelo situation is that I feel like he's such a good fighter, but he does, like you were saying, all these gamemanship that just kind of makes you cringe. Like, why do you need to do that? You're that good of a fighter. Why do you need to do that?
It's dirty rat shit.
One thing that I do know is, like, look, supposedly he's gonna fight Yildirim next because now the WBC that he said he's mandatory, whatever. Once he gets Yildirim out of the way, Canelo has to fight Charlo or Benavidez.
Or Plant.
The whole Errol Spence fight. Say that again.
Or Plant.
Or what about Caleb Plant?
Caleb Plant. Listen, he could fight Caleb Plant. He could fight Benavidez or Charlo. One of those 3.
Yeah, I agree.
But he can't overlook Charlo. He can't look Plant, and he can't look Benavidez. Those guys are champions. You have to fight these guys. Once he fights Yildirim, like for example, what I'm saying is, like, the Yildirim fight, let's say, is a mandatory, fine. I'll give him a pass for that. But after that, you got to fight Plant, Benavidez, or Charlo. You can't be on some bullshit fighting I don't want to see no Billy Joe Saunders fight, because Billy Joe Saunders, it'll be a repeat of what he did to Callum Smith, or worse, because he's gonna knock him out. So
Yeah,
I don't want to see
The
that
worst
fight.
part about this, the worst part about this to me is he's had to fight Charlo for how many years now? Out of his own mouth, I'm trying to unify the 160 division. I'm trying to unify 168. He's just making up. What he does before a fight is he says, I want to fight Caleb Plant, or I want to fight Benavidez. And then he picks some ridiculous dude. Hey, I'm fighting Margan Smargan BBB from Europe, and I'm going to make sure he stands straight up and he ain't got no upper lateral movement. That's his game. I don't care who his mandatory is, because the WBC bends for him. Like,
Yep.
straight up, they bend for him. How many times he popped positive? They bend for him. So he can be like, oh, it's my mandatory. I got to fight him. They're trying to put an Anthony Joshua stuff. No, we want to see you fight the best. You said you were the best. If it wouldn't have left your lips, we wouldn't be saying nothing. But you said you wanted to unify, and then you ducked Charlo. And notice Triple G has fought no one. The only name on their resumes is each other for Triple G. The only name on Triple G's resume for real is Canelo.
Yeah.
And that's how they use to validate him. And Canelo is just ducking all his prime people. He got a taste of Laura, and he was like, you know what? I think I'll skip all this. I don't care who his mandatory is. He needs to fight one of those cats. Now, how is he number one pound for pound? I look at the list like, how? How is that possible? How is this dude saying he's pound for pound and he has not proven himself? You keep buying Freedom Choice brands. It's terrible. He's terrible. He's a diva, like I called him before. He's a diva, and he wants to keep his spot.
And what's gonna happen is after he fight Yildirim and then he gotta fight Amando, they're gonna franchise his ass at 168.
Yep.
Come
Hey,
on,
That
man.
is correct.
See, the WBC is all the way capped. Here's why. I got a question for the whole panel. Tell me when y'all ready.
Ready,
I know y'all ain't ready.
ready.
Let them bars go.
Okay,
Ready.
let me let the bars go. Okay. So, quick timeline. Before Canelo was suing Oscar, Golden Boy, and DAZN, right? The WBC and their committee of, I think it was 36 people, said they voted 35-1 that Canelo gets to fight Yildirim, because this is what Canelo said he wanted to do before the Golden Boy lawsuit. Everybody remembers that.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yes.
Canelo wanted to fight Yildirim when David Benavidez lost his title on the scale, and Canelo was going after Yildirim, put in a request to the WBC.
For the belt.
They voted 35-1 or whatever in favor of Canelo getting the opportunity at Yildirim at 68. 160 fighter getting the opportunity at 68, correct?
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So they justified it and says he gets first dibs on the Yildirim fight because he was the franchise champion at 160. Isn't that what they said? They said
Yep.
he's the
Yep.
franchise champion.
Yep.
That's how we justify him getting the fight, right? Because at 160, we franchised him. I made videos and I said that doesn't really make sense. But whatever. He has full carte blanche because he was franchised at 160 at 168. So let me connect the dots for you. They said that he gets first dibs on Yildirim when that's when Canelo won the fight at 68 because of the franchise tag and designation at 160. So how are we fast forward to the future saying he has to fight Yildirim after fighting Callum Smith a different direction post lawsuit with Golden Boy, and they're saying he has to fight Yildirim because Yildirim is his mandatory. So they said franchise champions didn't have mandatories. So I'm highly confused. So let's put it all together. You said he had first dibs on Yildirim when he wanted to fight Yildirim. Then he sues Golden Boy, DAZN, Oscar, gets out of his contract. Then he changes directions and says, I'm fighting someone totally different, Callum Smith. Then you put the WBC belt up for grabs in that fight and say the winner has to now fight a mandatory. But I thought the whole point with the franchise tag and title was you're so important to the game, you don't have mandatories.
Yep.
Is that what they said? So Charlo was his mandatory at 160. they came up with this half-ass franchise tag and said he don't have to fight Charlo because he's the great Canelo Alvarez. Canelo as the franchise champion, this designation is non-transferable, even though they transferred it with the Lomachenko and Teofimo when Teofimo beat him. And why didn't he fight Charlo? They said because he's the franchise champion, they don't have mandatories. Then they said the franchise champion in a new division, 68, get first dibs on Yildirim. Then Canelo switches direction, fights Callum Smith. But now people are saying he got to fight Yildirim because it's his mandatory. I thought the franchise didn't have mandatories. One of y'all can help me explain that or understand that.
There's nothing to understand, bro. It's just whoever comes with the biggest check when they talk to the WBC gonna get their way. That's all it is. Whenever something's going on, I'm sure Reynoso or Canelo or whoever, before he go lay it to Suleiman's daughter or wife or whatever, he drop a check off, be like, "This what I want to happen."
Why did Canelo not fight Charlo at 160? And they justify it with the whole franchise champion. So how does he have a mandatory right now? Like, it doesn't make sense.
That's a great question. It's a great question.
Then he could have fought Charlo
like,
at 60.
For my living, I analyze numbers. The numbers say, remember when the WBC had zero tolerance for drug testing, but then Canelo popped positive and they gave him like a slap on the wrist? And then they say, hey, this franchise belt is to protect the people they want to be protected. Meanwhile, you got Deontay Wilder scrounging for a rematch. They're in the middle of COVID and they're saying, that's not your fault. That's everybody else's fault. I'm like, yo, you guys are definitely picking your favorites and you're definitely doing this. But you know why I'm doing it? Because he's Mexican and they love Mexicans. They always love Julio Cesar Chavez. That's how he got the title shot against Casazu. And they love Canelo Alvarez. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the WBC over the last few years, they put themselves in such a precarious, dangerous position. The bias is so flagrant, and they try to act like, you could post a couple other fighters here and there and say happy birthday and stuff like that. But the people who are really getting the true favoritism, things that positively impact their careers, I would say are more Latino fighters than anybody else. Does anybody disagree? Like, do you guys see it another way? The WBC, like the clenbuterol. Name one black fighter that failed for clenbuterol in boxing in the last 5 years. I'll wait. Name one white fighter that failed for clenbuterol in the last several years. Name an Asian fighter that failed for clenbuterol. A Rican fighter that failed for clenbuterol in the last several years.
No.
So, it's been in the rules. Like, I live in California. The CHP, California Highway Patrol, if one summer is booming and everyone's getting a DUI, they're not going to change the blood alcohol concentration level to accommodate drunk drivers. What they're going to do is just enforce it stricter and get actual more cops out there. Like, hey, we got a serious problem. All these wrecks could have been prevented, and they're going to put some science behind it. And they're not going to let you have more alcohol in your system. But that's what the WBC with their clean boxing program in effect did. They said, man, too many guys are failing clean with this buterol. So we gotta eliminate the failures by saying, hey, it's not technically a failure unless you fail over this threshold. So Daniel Mason brings up a strong point, in my opinion. Listen, Canelo's good. I put him pound for pound number one just for body of work. It's kind of hard because, truth be told, there's not a Floyd Mayweather or an Andre Ward where it's like non-subjective, where you could just easily put. Some people think Terence, some people think it's Spence, people think it's Crawford, whoever. So I don't think there's as definitive as past years a pound for pound person. Like when Mayweather was it, if you didn't have Mayweather number one, then you were probably just hating. So I don't think it's as definitive, but I'll get Canelo up there. Can somebody mute their phone? I would put Canelo up there just because of total body of work. He has fought some good names like Cotto's. I thought he won the Cotto without really any controversy. I thought he beat Golovkin in the second fight. So he has the better resume. Crawford shows more separation in fights, but then he doesn't have like a triple G on his resume that was like super imposing. or even a Callum Smith who's 7 inches taller than him. Name someone like a Callum Smith Crawford fought at welterweight, who has this crazy freakish height and supposed to have some power behind it. You know what I'm saying? So I would put Canelo up there, but it's not as defined as in past years, I would say. I just want to see Canelo fight somebody with a shot.
With a chance, yeah.
That's it. You know, he's a great fighter. Let's just see him fight somebody. Well, full camp. You get a full camp. He get a full camp. And it's ironic because you see a lot of the Canelo fans and the man fans and stuff. Everything they said they hated Floyd Mayweather for, they allowed Canelo to do.
Yep.
They say, I hate Floyd because he waited till guys got old. Shane Mosley, when he fought Canelo, was 40. Baltimore, when he fought Canelo, he was 41. You know, Kovalev, 38, and had seen better days and been stopped multiple times by that. Almost got stopped in his fight right before. Floyd fought some of the people off their best wins. Like Marquez had just destroyed Baby Bull Juan Diaz.
Right.
And Floyd fighting him off a 2-year layoff.
Most confident point in their career.
Name somebody like that Canelo fought that was like, without a doubt, the number one person in the division. They keep saying Callum
Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, hell a long ago.
Floyd Mayweather, and he got destroyed.
What happened? Exactly.
Yo, you know the thing? The thing is, when you say stuff like that, they say, well, Mayweather did it, but then they slam Mayweather at the same time. Well, Mayweather did it. Well, Mayweather took you. Victor Ortiz was coming off his best performance.
That's right.
Like, people were coming off their best performances, got Mayweather. Canelo's going, you been sitting on the couch? You got 2 weeks to train, we fight. Remember this?
Hey, your audio breaking up crazy.
Yeah, everybody, he was going to fight bums. Like, I guarantee you, if I said I fought and I had 3 weeks to train, Canelo would give me an offer. At 170.
Yeah, I mean, we know the games because like Amir Khan, there was no rehydration clause. But for everybody bigger, like Danny Jacobs and Callum Smith and Chavez Jr., there's rehydration clauses. Chavez Jr. looked gaunt at the weigh-in. He looked like Christian Bale and the Machinist. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they said they hated about Floyd, which is all cap. Floyd at age 30 was fighting De La Hoya. Look it up. He was fighting De La Hoya. Canelo just turned 30 and he fighting a lot of European fighters. He finna fight Austin Powers next, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like enough is enough. Yildirim, for whatever reason, he got to get. If he fights him in February, I'm not tripping. But after that, like Ari said, I got to see Canelo fight somebody that is, just really that I feel is a threat. You know what I'm saying?
We won't.
Like David Benavidez.
Danny Jacobs.
That's man, David Benavidez is a monster. Okay, put it this way. I got the perfect way to put it, y'all. Tell me when y'all ready.
Drop them bars.
Ready.
Canelo just fought Callum Smith. Is Callum Smith a better punching with the punching style than David Benavidez? Like as an aggressive, hold on. As an aggressive puncher and a guy with menacing power, is Callum in his fights previously, has he looked like a more impressive puncher and selection of punches than David Benavidez?
Nope.
No.
Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full.
Man said negative Ghost Rider. Okay, now part 2 of the question, part B. As a pure boxer with some power, has Callum Smith in his past fights looked like a better pure scientific boxer, tight defense than Caleb Plant?
No.
No.
What's wrong with you?
And guess who Canelo fought? So my point is Callum Smith he's not looking like a more ferocious puncher than David Benavidez. He's not looking like a more scientific, pure boxer with a better defense than a Caleb Plant. And that's who Canelo chooses. So you can't really tell me that Callum Smith is better than either of those guys because he's not even better at what they do. You know what I'm saying? He don't box better than Caleb Plant, and he don't punch with a more ferocious style than a David Benavidez. and right in the middle, that's where he would have been of those two styles, and that's who Canelo picked.
Cap Nello, that's his new nickname. Cap Nello.
Man, David Benavidez, like I'm really impressed when I see him string these punches together. It's crazy. Like the Porky Medina, he has some Super Saiyan 9 punch, like you said earlier.
I saw that.
It was like 8 punches, man. That was sick.
8 punches. His face was like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what is he? Yeah, man.
Like the sumo wrestler on what you call
E Honda.
E Honda. E Honda. That's hilarious.
He Honda up Porky Medina.
Bad stuff.
What do y'all think of Canelo versus Errol Spence? Do you think it happens?
No. Well, I think it will happen because Canelo thinks he has a better shot making him come up to 168.
But Earl said he would.
I think they said he'll go. He said he'll go to 160 for Errol.
I know, but then Reynoso said he wouldn't go down to 160. Canelo's already coming up. Yeah, Canelo's already coming up to Errol's already coming up to 147. Oh, he's coming from 147. Like
I never heard no one say that he wouldn't go to 160 though.
Yeah, Eddie Reynoso said it.
Yeah,
Eddie Reynoso said it.
Yeah, he said he won't go to 160. Yeah.
Eddie Reynoso in an interview said he with Ellie said he wouldn't go down to 160.
Yeah, I'd already let y'all know what's popping in.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Then it's not going to happen then. Because that's stupid. And so Errol got to move up from 147 to 168.
Weight class.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, something's wrong.
Wow. Okay. Then I don't even, I definitely don't want to see that fight then. Like, bro, what? Okay, Canelo. So hold on. So Canelo post-fight after he whooped Callum Smith said, I'm not going to cruiserweight. That's too much. So he don't want to go to cruiserweight, but he want to bring Errol Spence to 68. That's what y'all telling me?
That's the point, man. Like this dude is. The more I look at what he does, the more it makes me angry.
Bro, he just said he wouldn't go to cruiserweight himself because he doesn't want to give up that weight. But you want Errol Spence to give up that man? Stop.
Not only that, Amir Khan was a 140 pounder and he fought him. So like that shows me where he at with his.
Man, his chin is a 110 pounder.
Yo, I think you can knock Amir Khan out in warm-ups. Like if he get hit by the mitt too hard on his hand, he might fall out.
Nah, you violating.
But what I'm saying is Canelo is like he's trying to do what Manny Pacquiao did when Bob Arum used to do it. Pick his people. You picking Cotto off a loss. Like that's what Canelo is doing. He's going, I want all these European fighters that ain't got no movement. David Benavidez and Caleb Plant going to move, and not only that, they're going to return fire. You don't want return fire. Kovalov was just calling at him.
I think they're trying to make Canelo like a manufactured Mexican version of Floyd Mayweather.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like Floyd actually went out the trenches and fought and beat the guys and made them look average. They're bringing in guys that are going to look average, and then Canelo's looking spectacular. Because you got to ask yourself this. Danny Jacobs, he didn't do horrible. So Danny Jacobs was the only person in recent memory that had a full camp that I could think of. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Danny Jacobs bypassed the same day weigh-in thing. Like he didn't play the Canelo game and he skipped the same day weigh-in. Like, nah, I'm good off that. And he said, I'll just pay the fine. And if you look at the recent Canelo opponents, he didn't get tore out the frame like Callum Smith or Kovalev. He didn't get stopped. He didn't get dropped. Triple G dropped him, but Canelo did. So I think there's a direct correlation between having a full camp and being a good fighter and that going in with Canelo versus the other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody looked as bad as Kovalev and Callum Smith.
No, it was totally one-way
in recent memory that had a full camp.
That's
except for Chavez Jr., and we know that part of his thing was his weight. Couldn't even make weight. That was half of the conversation. See, I feel like there's always a conversation with Canelo fights. Conversation for Chavez Jr., can he even make weight? Conversation Callum Smith, does he have enough time? Conversation for Kovalev, is he the same fighter? He almost got stopped by Yard. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see Canelo fight and beat somebody that there's no conversation piece. And like a David Benavidez, even a Better Biev just destroyed Vostik. So if you can go up to see in Canelo, I've seen another trick that they do. They keep fighting who they want out the division. and saying they're the best and then beating them and then saying, hey, that was the best guy in the division.
Yeah.
But the real boxing fans know that's not true. Beterbiev is better than Kovalev at the point he fought Kovalev. I think if you replace Canelo's name with Beterbiev on that night, Beterbiev would have slept Kovalev the way he was looking.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Because he beat Vostok, who was undefeated, and he was boxing well, and then a guy with some power. So, you know, if he wants to stay away from 75, whatever. You don't want to fight Bivol and Beterbiev, but at least why not Charlo or Andrade at 160? 68, Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, sign me up. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Al Heyman is closing the walls on him. That's what Al Heyman is doing. He's putting somebody at every weight saying, either way, you got to come see me.
What was that, Ari?
I have a question. So would you guys be okay with Charlo moving up to 168 and fighting Canelo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big
If
enough.
that's how he gets it, yeah.
Yeah.
I still think 60. Okay, my question, I'm going to spin off that question. Charlo at 68, does he look like Callum Smith at 68?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Exactly. So then, yeah, I would rather see that because if Canelo dog walks Charlo at 68 and he loses every single round, then Canelo,
Is
he going to
it?
get all the props in the world for
Yeah,
even doing that.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like-
We ain't seen it. We ain't seen you in competition that can even give us an inkling of an idea that you able to do that. Come on, man. You fighting these dudes that's stationary. This dude, like, he long as hell and with a soft ass jab. His jab slow as shit, man. That shit took so long to come back. Come on,
He kept
man.
doing the same
The
fake
same
uppercut
yeah,
combination.
3-punch combo like he on Dragon Ball Z or something. Like, come on, man. That fight went the way everybody knew it was gonna go. That's all I'm saying. We can't get it.
I was gonna say real quick, the only downside for Canelo is there's so many promising talents in boxing. People aren't gonna play this game no more. You know, people's attention span is this big. You got Jerron Boots Ennis and Benavidez and all these other dudes that are looking crazy good. Shakur, Teofimo, all these guys that are looking good. I don't think that whole like diva era of like just kind of like like not fighting any of the fights we want. We're getting too many other good fights like Errol Spence off an accident with Danny Garcia. And for me, when I looked at Gervonta versus Leo Santa Cruz, I give him more props for Leo came to fight, bro.
Mhm.
Leo Santa Cruz came to fight. He had a mouse under Tank's eye. He was winning spots and rounds. Callum Smith laid an egg, bro. He laid an egg. And Tank decimated him with one shot. Canelo went 12 rounds with a guy who he was just simply outclassing in every facet and dog walking. You know what I mean? Gervonta tasted some adversity against a taller guy too, and he decimated him with one single shot. So as long as that stuff keeps happening, it's going to be hard for Canelo to, in my opinion, like if Canelo stays on DAZN, it might be a wrap. If he just fights Billy Joe Saunders and Triple G, it's going to be hard to. Who wants to see? That's a good question. Canelo Triple G 3. Do you guys want to see it?
No.
I didn't want to see two.
Or what? Or what?
One at a time. One of y'all.
No. At this point in their career, like I watched the Triple G versus Cesmera because wasn't nothing else to do. I'm just being honest with you. Now, Triple G, while he got really good shot selection still, his punches do not have the power he used to have. And stepping up like this at this point, just keep it a buck. At this point in their career, Canelo will stop him. Canelo will stop GGG at this point.
Yeah.
I think he'll look ugly. Triple G was fighting Seth Meta with 5 knockouts, and he looked to be getting tired to me. Like he looked like he was getting tired in the later round, 5th, 6th round or something. Like
Triple
he had to,
G.
like, chill.
Triple G was breathing hard in the 4th round versus Says Meta.
See,
And-
there already goes.
And I tweeted it out, and everybody was calling me a hater. And then a few other people tweeted it out. Like a few greats of boxing tweeted it out and said the same thing. Yeah, honestly, Triple G, his best option will probably be to fight Munguia, which
Yeah.
I think that might be a winnable fight. But the way that he looked versus Cesmeta, like I said, he was breathing hard in the 4th round. I think Munguia will beat him. If Munguia could get past those first few rounds without getting hurt or dropped or knocked out, I think Munguia would take him to deep waters and beat Triple G. That's just what I think.
I'm on the fence on that. I think that's kind of at this point, it's a 50-50 fight. Because he's a Mexican warrior and his inside fight game is way better than Triple G's inside fight game. So if he makes it rough, he might be able to beat him, but he also lacks all defense. So you don't have no defense. You can't be getting hit with Triple G flush shots and be cool with no defense. So that's a toss up.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. Munguia does get
Johnson,
hit.
I thought was hanging with him. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Munguia gets hit. That's why I said if Munguia gets past the first 3 to 4, like I would say 3 rounds. If Munguia get past the first 3 rounds without getting hurt, I think he will beat Triple G. And the reason why is because he goes to the body. Triple G doesn't like it to the body. And especially at this age, at this stage of his career, the way Sismeta wasn't really hitting him like that. And he was breathing hard in the 4th round. So,
and he looked to be in great shape. It looked like he was in great shape.
That's what I'm saying. But once he started fighting, you're like, wait a minute. Like I saw it. I was like, holy shit, he's fucking breathing hard. So if he fights Munguia I think could take him out if they're going to.
Got a high work rate too, right?
He's a pressure fighter. He's a volume pressure fighter. Comes forward. He goes to the body. He does get hit, but I feel that pressure and that volume will just burn Triple G out.
I think we can all agree Triple G's Mexican style is fake as hell. You're not Mexican style. Munguia is more Mexican style than you, and he'll beat you at that game. Jaime Munguia will Mexican style Triple G. Triple G is Taco Bell style.
Taco Bell is.
He don't want that type of fight. He'll try to jab. If anything, you better try to jab Munguia. Try to jab him like you did Lemieux. If he goes head up, then yeah, he definitely getting chopped by Munguia. To me,
chopped up.
He gonna get chopped up. Now, last thing I want to ask you all about is Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. Man, y'all, everyone put their head down, shaking their head, looking sad.
Tell y'all, get y'all mans.
Okay, so let me set this. Let me set the stage. Errol Spence was at the Canelo fight, and he says, "You know, I could read the actual quote. Give me a second. I'll pull up the actual quote. I don't, if at all possible, I don't want to misquote nobody, things like that." Okay, Errol Spence said, "I think the Crawford fight could happen. We have to see how it goes. Al Heyman and Bob Arum need to sit down, and Bob Arum need to stop lying. We'll see. It definitely could happen next year. We just have to sit down and talk and go over the numbers and things like that. This is the important part, y'all. I'm the big dog in the welterweight division. Crawford has to take a back seat and take that 60-40 split or a 70-30 split, whatever we give him. Is Errol Spence capping? Or is he telling the truth?"
He's telling the truth.
Hold on. We gotta do it one at a time because I know everyone has a comment. Ricky, we're gonna start from the top. Is that cap?
No, is
that fact?
This is all facts, bro. Ain't no, but like I keep trying to say it, Terence Crawford has his talent confused with his drawing power. He doesn't have any, right? So no matter what nobody says, if you want to look at it, yeah, Terence Crawford, he might beat him, but I don't believe he'll beat him. I'm always gonna say that. But skill-wise, everybody thinks Bud's the goods, right? But you don't bring no seats to the table, bro. It's just what it is. We didn't make it this way. It's been this way since time eternal. It's an A side and a B side in big fights. Now you trying to act like it just started with you. This just ain't started with you, bro. That's asinine for you to even say. But like I keep saying, every time this dude open his mouth, something stupid pop out. The whole problem is they need to play their role. Go ahead, take that 60-40 while you still got a shot. Because, even if Errol don't fight Canelo or Manny, they calling his name out. They clout chasing Errol. So that's telling you that he's the man on the come up. But if he do fight Manny Pacquiao and wash him, that distance between A and B gets a lot bigger, bro. If he fight Canelo, if he fight Canelo, win or lose, because of the money he gonna make off that and the popularity and of course the profile that he gonna gain from being on big time TV against Canelo, that distance becomes wider. And the reason, let me tell y'all this, The reason why Bud got to do this because Bob is not picking up the freight for his ass no more. He not doing it. He told you losing me money. He not gonna pay nobody no 15 and 20 million because he not getting his return back when they fighting you. This is just what it is, Bud. It ain't personal. It's business. I keep trying to tell y'all it's all business. But Bud ain't conducting his business correctly.
Daniel Mason, you have something to say to add?
Yes, I do. He's very correct. Bud's last numbers for pay-per-view numbers were dismal. Like
What, the con fight, you mean?
Yeah, it was like at high, it was like 150 at the highest. And that's the thing I'm saying. Like, I do numbers for a living, and I know a little dude ain't supposed to be coming to a big dude talking, hey, it's 50-50. Who have you fought at 147? Not only that, you showing all this terribleness towards Errol Spence. Meanwhile, you got that heat coming from next to you with Bob Arum. Like, you can't even get your own house in order, but you telling people you worth this. I understand you got to promote yourself. I understand it's maybe part of the game. You may be even tagging Errol Spence's name to rise to the top, which happens to be Top Rank's whole thing. I'm going to tag Mayweather so Manny can rise to the top. I'm going to tag Gervonta so Garcia can rise to the top. But at the same time, your own promoter said you're not even marketable. So how do you expect them to turn around and tell Errol Spence he's marketable? That's a ridiculous statement.
Anybody else? Ari, sir?
Yeah, that's business, man, and he needs to approach it as business. Like you said, he might be 50-50 when it comes to skill, but far as business-wise, Earl just done more. Earl did more pay-per-view. He sell out in big stadiums. I think Crawford last pay-per-view did maybe $1. And Earl did that in one fight. One pay-per-view fight. So he needs to
triple
remove
that in more than one.
Yeah,
in one.
Yeah,
350.
Yeah, that's right. He tripled it. So he needs to stop taking business personally and take it as business. That was just his advice. He got the wrong people in his ear, man. This is a business decision. Earl, by far, man, as far as business wise, he draws more. He got better drawing power than you. Your skill level might be 50-50, but as far as drawing power, it ain't.
Let me give y'all a harsh reality in the business world. Is Ryan Garcia the most skillful fighter in all of boxing that you've ever seen?
No.
So everyone just said no unanimously. And that's not a disrespect to Ryan, but nobody I've seen will say that Ryan Garcia eclipses every single person in skill. I'm not saying he don't have skill, but the thing is the kid is branding himself well. They got a part 2, part 3. He did a documentary with YouTube. The man is rolling. So a lot of people think Javier Fortuna might be able to beat Ryan Garcia, right? Skill for skill, style for style. But that's not, no one could say Javier Fortuna would be the A side over Ryan Garcia. And I think Bud doesn't realize it. I think the Top Rank conditioning and brainwashing, they get you on the pound for pound list. Like you with your talent, they'll get in. They have a lot of writers they're in good with. They'll start putting you on so they start psychologically giving you this feeling and making you feel good about yourself. Like, oh, I'm the man. I'm on the pound for pound list. I got the Ring magazine belt, this, that, and the third. But none of that has anything to do with the actual A side and the A side values. Ryan Garcia, whether you think he has skill or no skill, or if you think there's more skilled, he would be the A side over guys. You see what I'm saying? Certain guys, at the very least. So I don't think Bud is getting that correlation that your skill and if you can beat a person in this modern age of boxing does not always predicate how much you're worth. You don't get what you're worth, you get what you negotiate. And the moment your own promoter said, you can't sell for me, I could have bought a fat house in Beverly Hills and Malibu and all this, you're out the A-side conversation. You're simply put out. Your own promoter don't believe, your own promoter is saying you're lying inadvertently. Do you see what I'm saying? That's like, have you ever been somewhere with your parents and then your mom says something to the tax lady, like, oh, do you have a job, or whatever they say, And then your parents answer, and then the kid says, "Oh, but mom, what about this?" And they tell on you. Your own promoter did that. He told on you. He said, "Hey, but wait, what about the last 3 fights that I'm losing money off of? You can't be no A side, sir. How you gonna be the A side and your own promoter is telling the whole world that you the Z side? And you need to be more like 22-year-old Teofimos and Shakur Stevensons." Hey, Ari, what do you have to say on the 60-40, 70-30 comment from Errol?
He's telling no lies. And Crawford doesn't realize that the more he talks, the worse he's making it for himself. Crawford doesn't realize that without Errol Spence, well, first, he has no leverage over Errol Spence, number one. And number two, without Errol Spence, his career has no leverage because we know that his contract is up. Let's say is up in end of whatever, September. What's he gonna do after that, or who is he gonna fight? Because Errol Spence has options. Errol could fight Manny. Errol could fight Keith Thurman. Errol could fight Canelo. So if Errol says, you know what, fuck Crawford, not gonna fight him, what's Crawford gonna do? He's gonna miss out on the biggest payday of his career. So I feel that Crawford is just making it worse for himself the more he talks.
I also agree with you, and I agree with what Sura said. Bud got to get some different ears or different people, like neutral parties. I don't know if he has to reach outside of Omaha and get some people, but some of the stuff that we're hearing Bud's camp kind of go along with, it's just like Ari said, it's not putting him in a winnable position, and it's making it look worse. So his manager and trainer, there's an interview on Boxing Scene. This is a direct quote from Bomac. The relationship with Bob Arum is still up in the air. I've been trying to have a sit down with him, but I still haven't gotten a date. It says, but the priorities for Team Crawford remain the same. Bomac wants either, quote, Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence for Crawford's next fight, whenever that is. But with one caveat. Y'all ready to hear what this is?
Yep.
With the one, he said he wants Pacquiao or Errol Spence with one caveat.
Don't say
The
it.
purse for either one would have to be split straight down the middle, 50-50. So he says versus Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence, they have to get 50-50. We already talked about the Errol Spence 60-40, 70-30 thing. Will Crawford and his team get 50-50 with a Manny Pacquiao who has 70-plus fights and an instant Hall of Famer as soon as he's eligible? Ricky.
Negative. Manny Pacquiao's getting $25 million off bet. Stop. These are lies. You know what these are? These are
Is that a duck noise?
These are duck moves.
Oh, wow.
These are duck moves. You are putting stuff in an atmosphere that you know is not gonna happen. You know you're not going 50-50 with Manny. What is you talking about? Errol's been consistent in what he's been telling you what can make that fight happen. 60-40. You keep playing, it's going to be 70-30 or whatever the fuck we give you. Like I keep trying to tell people, fuck what Crawford's saying. Look at how he moved. Look at how they moving. If you was the boss, you would take that 60-40, say, you know what? I'm going to whoop your ass. And when we rematch, I got all the power. 60-40, dog. It's 60-40. It's 10% off your 50% that you asking for, which honestly at 147, you ain't earned. You ain't earned it, dog.
Why not, Jeff Horn?
So, what?
Mean Machine, Green Machine.
Okay, who heard of Kavaluskas before this fight?
What about Amir Khan?
Okay, you said that. Thank you, Amir Khan. Next.
Jose Benavidez.
Shot in the
He
knee.
earned it with that?
Shot in the knee before the fight. Knee was still bad. Asterisk. Who else?
Kell Brook, basically.
Asterisk. One hit in the eye. It's over. Every great name he has at 147 has a question mark. And the ones he did beat, you never heard of them. These are not world-renowned fighters.
Mean Machine. You're not world renowned?
No.
Why are you angry? No.
I'm sick of it.
He passionate, boy.
I'm sick of
Yeah,
it.
that man say
Like,
no.
The whole thing is like this the whole problem with the issue with Bud. People keep using this your truth shit. No, it's either the truth or the lie. If we don't agree upon a baseline of truth, any argument is null, is moot. We have to come to a level agreement that Errol has done more at 147. He sells more at 147. He has more pay-per-view buys, that he's the top dog. You got to get to that, because otherwise this fight's never going to happen. But his public, the people, I ain't going to even say it's Bob no more, because Bob told us what he think of Bud. I don't even think it's Bud. Bob just not going to pay the freight for Bud anymore. He's not going to be paying out no 5 and 10 million for no fight that he's not getting a return on. That's what's going on with Bob. That's why Bo Mac or Big Mac and Terrence asked
30 more
so much
seconds.
bread.
30 seconds.
They don't want no fight, and if they do get the fight, they go, you gonna pay for that. You gonna pay for that. Oh, that's what's going on. You gonna pay for that. Oh, they
Sir.
that O on the auction block.
What's
your
the question
thoughts?
again? On what? On as far as
Team Crawford, is it realistic to get 50-50 with Manny Pacquiao? Go.
hell no. It's Pacquiao is proven himself. He'd be lucky to get 70-30. He could probably get that, but Pacquiao done too much. Well known, fought some of the best 147 pounders. Shown his worth. He can sell over 500,000 by himself. And you ain't even bringing in maybe bring in 100,000. No, man, you're not getting no 50% with Pacquiao. That's they selling a pipe dream. No way in hell he could get that money with Pacquiao. I don't even know why I don't even know why I even said it. I guess maybe it's negotiation. They start off big and then they can start going down from there. So maybe that's what it is.
But see, this is the thing. Bomac is Crawford's trainer and manager. So your manager is saying something that everybody on the panel seems to believe is not even realistic. And in the same breath, they're saying 60-40 Errol's way, given what he's proven, or 70-30 is a spit in the face. But then they're open to have Sean Porter get 75-25 with the WBO split.
Come on, man.
None of this stuff is making sense. And this, this is the train of thinking with Team Crawford based on what they're putting out. Your manager feels somehow you're going to get 50-50 with Errol or Pacquiao. That's the deal. Ari, what are your thoughts?
If Bomac believes that they deserve 50-50 versus Manny Pacquiao, he done lost his fucking mind. Because how does he justify 50-50? He's not selling shit compared to Manny Pacquiao. So, and this is the problem. Crawford is listening to Bomac, and I feel like Bomac, listen, this is training to have a good relationship. That's none of my business, but that's just bad business advice. You're lying to your fighter. Crawford does not deserve that money. He needs to stop lying to him. And Crawford got to smarten up and stop fucking believing that shit. It's delusional.
Daniel Mason, any thoughts?
How many titles does Errol Spence have?
2.
And how many titles does Terence Crawford have?
1.
You're telling me you're going to 50-50 and I'm the one unifying? What my man still remote things? You have lost your John Brown hind parts.
What about over Pacquiao? They said they 50-50 with Errol or Pacquiao.
Pacquiao, I wouldn't even be having that conversation with Terence Crawford because you haven't done enough. Okay, ESPN's putting your name out there, but you haven't even hit the radar yet. You have your pay-per-views can't even touch his. Like my man said, you doing 500,000 by himself. Like he needs to smarten up and open the market up. That's what he needs to do. Bob
Jay-Z
Arum,
bars.
yeah, Bob Arum been like using him and saying we got the best pound. Only reason Bob Arum does that is to say we got the best pound for pound fighter. He don't promote him, but meanwhile, Tyson Fury come over saying American Pie to everybody, and he gets promoted. But Terence Crawford asking for those numbers, I know he knows he's lying, but I think he's in a no-win situation. He has to promote himself. His promoter said he won't do it, so he has to get out there and make it happen himself. So I understand the situation, but Bomac has said some ridiculous stuff before. I didn't buy Errol Spence's pay-per-view. I watched it illegally. Like, come on, man. Like, you're a manager. You know, even that as a black fighter, you want to make money. But now you're sitting there talking, oh, it has to be 50-50. When does a gesture tell a king how to conduct his business? It doesn't happen. So a gesture throwing jokes. I agree with Artie said. He's just doing that to try to see where his negotiation is, but it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible.
My thing is this: it's going to look bad if Errol gets the Pacquiao fight in actuality. Your whole team has been talking about getting Pacquiao since 2014 or something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and brush over the fact that you had the chance that Lomachenko and Bob Arum hit him from you. Brush over that fact. Brush over the fact that Bob Arum had Manny Pacquiao and said, I didn't want to give him to you. You might beat him. And now Bob Arum, now that he don't work for him no more, he calling out Manny Pacquiao. He ain't scared no more. It's
harder.
Yeah, he's older. I was scared, but now older. You know, you can fight Manny now. The games it's right there to see.
Yeah, Qatar and all this stuff like that.
Yeah. I want to fight Macau. Nobody wants to fight Macau, man. Just get the fight going.
Get y'all mans for real, man. Get y'all mans out of here, bro.
I'm not understanding the movement from Team Crawford and like some of the stuff they were saying. I was like, okay, and then I'm like, man, do they really believe this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody in boxing believes that you would be the A side over Errol Spence. Then you say you want 50-50 versus him or Pacquiao? Like, Errol Spence is the top dog right now. Pacquiao is a legendary figure. It just doesn't sound realistic that you're going to get 50-50. That's like Callum Smith saying, I'm not going to fight Canelo unless he split it down the middle. That's the equivalent. Your own promoter says you ain't doing numbers. You are automatically exempt. You know, it's like a high school varsity player that can't keep his grades up. You can't play on the team no matter how good you are, bro. No matter how good you are of a basketball player, you have to keep your grades and your GPA within a certain threshold. Bud is doing that skillfully in terms of fights, but he's not maintaining that GPA in terms of his branding. You're seeing other people surpass Bud in a short space of time, like Errol Spence. Errol Spence has been I knew about Bud well, and I praised Bud well before I even knew who Errol Spence truly was, before I seen him in there with a great name. Guys like Teofimo, he wasn't even a pro when Bud was fighting Gamboa. Not even a pro. Yep. And in a short space of time, there's Charlos. They weren't really on the scene when Gamboa. Like, I'm not saying they weren't fighting because they were fighters in their own, in their own career, but I'm saying they weren't on the radar, people's radar the same. So I think, like Daniel said, Bud got to smarten up and open the market up. Anyway, I think we went long. Anybody got any closing statements? Easy Work Wednesday.
I got one closing statement.
2021.
I got one closing statement. When Bud brought up saying that Earl might have lost some of the screws when he got into his wreck. You can attack somebody. You can attack somebody's program, but you don't attack them personally because because Earl said it business wise. I'm the big dog business wise because I did more at 147. I got 2 belts. And then you didn't attack this program like you're a crummy boxer or those belts. You got paid, you're a paper champion. He went after the man personally. You don't make personal attacks when it comes to business. You can attack his program, but you don't attack him personally. And he was just totally out of pocket with that, man. You don't, we, like you said, none of us perfect. We all make mistakes, but to attack him personally and then bring up the wreck, and then his man was bringing it up. Bernie was bringing it up and stuff too. So it's got to have been something that been recycling around in their little conversations. And you went out there, Errol. You know, granted, Errol might have been a little boastful, like, look, man, I'm the top dog here. You can take that 60-40 or that 70-30, but I'm the big fish. We got to negotiate it. Your guy sitting down with my guy, and we come from that. But then for Bud to say that, yeah, he must have, that wreck must have knocked a few of his screws loose. That's just out of pocket, man. That's just not. That's not. You got to keep it business, man. You don't make it personal. You know.
Like Ari said, Errol keeps it boxing, you know, point blank. But like my man Ari said, the more he opens his mouth, the worse it looks. He got screws loose and all this, but you went to his fight to watch him post-accident. You went to the Danny Garcia fight. He didn't go to Kell Brook and beg Top Rank to get in the bubble. So the more you talk, the more it looks like other things to people. So anybody else have any add-ons to say like that? Yeah. Like Crawford, he has no leverage business-wise. You went to his fight. Your promoter says you ain't selling for him. It's over. This is like a dead conversation. Anybody got any add-ons? And we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, same thing, man. It's like the image I get is this: when PBC and Errol hit them with facts, here come Bernie the boxer and Terence and Big Mac hitting you with emotion. You know what I'm saying? What Terence and them are saying is what they feel. This is what y'all feel. That's just y'all perception of the situation. Now, your perception of the truths don't change the truths. That's just the way you look at them. You know what I'm saying? So this dude, man, y'all need to come with facts. All y'all need to just look at the numbers and be real about the business. Because again, if y'all don't come to a level of truth, we'll never see this fight. And don't nobody want to see this fight when it's 2 or 3 years past when it was supposed to happen. I'm tired of that crap, man. It's supposed to be the best fight and the best. And this is the way business has been done since time eternal. And it's not going to change because Bud Crawford say so. That's just the way I feel about it.
Facts. Happy holidays. I want to appreciate you guys for your time. Easy Work Wednesday. Anybody have any last thing to take us out?
Favorite muscle of mine is oh man.
Oh no. Go Daniel Mason and then Ari, take us out.
I said favorite muscle of mine is muscle of mine, and new media hustle is the hardest to find.
Bars. Ari, what you guys say? You came late, so take us out.
I just gotta say, listen, happy holidays to everybody. Enjoy your family, and just Merry Christmas.
What you eating?
And all good stuff. Huh?
What you eating for the holidays?
I'm taking it easy, man. I'm gonna be home. I'll be cooking and stuff like that. I'll be cooking some pernil, that pork shoulder. That's what I'll be cooking. But
that sounds hella good.
Yeah, man. I'll send some pictures. I'll share some pictures.
Crab legs and macaroni and cheese.
Okay, that sounds good. Last question for the holidays. We gotta leave them. By the time they watch this, it'll be real close to Christmas. Favorite holiday movie, Christmas movie. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Home Alone.
Facts. Okay. What else?
Y'all gonna hate me.
Christmas
Die Hard.
Christmas.
Die Hard. Oh, okay. Facts.
Christmas Story with Ralphie.
Sir.
I don't know, man. I don't really get into Christmas, but I guess it'll be Die Hard.
Yeah, Die Hard's classic. All right.
Yours is clearly Scrooge.
Y'all crazy. Happy holidays. Appreciate you. Easy Work Wednesday. We out.
Peace. Peace to the guys.
Peace, guys.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.